properly audible, then please ping me in the chat box. If you find any difficulty in listening to my voice or you do not find my voice audible, then please let me know in the chat box. Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Welcome to this webinar, which is precisely the third webinar. And today's topic of our web seminar is corporate culture and the criminal liability behind the mask. Okay, so before we start discussion about anything about the corporate culture or the criminal liability of a corporate or the criminal liability arising from its actions, let's first see something which will give you some clear idea about what we are actually going to talk about today. So I'll just share you some visuals. This is the first visual which I'm sharing with you. You can see the IBM and the Holocaust. I'll explain you what is this IBM and what is the link with Holocaust. Second visual is about the Ford Pinto. What you are witnessing right now, the car is exactly Ford Pinto of 1970s. This car was manufactured by the Ford company or the Ford Limited in 1970s. You can see the disaster accidents which happened through Ford Pinto. This is what we are witnessing, the Bhopal gas leak, the mass oleum gas leak of Bhopal. Union Carbide Corporation. These are the pictures from the debris of Boeing 737 MAX flight, which crashed into ground Ethiopian Airlines 602. These pictures are from the Vizag gas leak, which resulted in thousands deaths. This picture, which you are right now visualizing, is a picture of oil leakage into the river by some cobalt and nickel company in Russia. This thing happened just 2 days ago. And because of this, there is now a state of emergency in Russia declared by the president. So what all you just visualized or what all we all just saw are some examples or some instances which we can conclude or which we can say are corporate criminal liabilities or some corporate criminality, some criminal actions done by corporations. What initially in the first visual what we saw was the picture of IBM printing one identity card which was used during the Holocaust of Second World War to differentiate among the German Nazis and Jews. This identity card, which helped the Nazi government to identify and differentiate between German Jews and German Nazis, was precisely printed by IBM, a very, very famous corporation. Another example which we saw was the Bhopal gas leak. You all remember the horrors of Bhopal gas leak. Thousands and 10,000s around were dead, around 20,000 were sick, and till date there are people who are taking birth with some birth defects, birth deformities, which we can say, an after effect of the gas leakage. Another one which we saw was the Ford Pinto. In 1970s, the Ford company was manufacturing one particular car whose name was Ford Pinto. Now, what was the difficulty in this car? The gas tank or the fuel tank of the car was precisely located at the back side or at the rear side of the car. Generally, what we see nowadays, that the fuel tank is situated at either side of the car. In Ford Pinto, it was situated at the back side of the car or the rear side of the car. So in an instance or in a situation where the car finds an accident on the rear side, the car explodes to pieces, including the person inside the car. The company knew this defect. The company exactly knew this defect, but deliberately they didn't disclose it because it empowered them in a cost and benefit mechanism. Cost of manufacturing of the car. Sorry. anyone saying something? I request everyone please to mute their audio. So I'll share the pictures once again. The visual is correct right now? Is the visual is correct? Can you see the pictures? Okay, so this picture, what you are right now visualizing is the identity card being manufactured by IBM during the Holocaust or in Nazi regime. What happened during Nazi regime? They were killing Jews in a subsequent manner. They are pushing them into concentration camp and they were killing them in an organized manner. So, in order to differentiate between German Nazis and the Jews, they take the help of this kind of identity cards. Those identity cards were being manufactured by IBM. Okay. This car pictures which you can see now is precisely the Ford Pinto. This car is the Ford Pinto car, which finds this accident from the rear side. And when there is an accident happening from the rear side of the car is exploding into pieces. You can see this picture, how the car is burning into pieces. So when there is an accident on the rear side of the car, because the gas tank or the fuel tank of the car was situated at the back side of the car, because of that kind of manufacturing defect, the car, in circumstances of rear accident, exploded into pieces, including the person who is driving the car or who is sitting inside the car. So deliberately, Ford company, they didn't disclose this kind of information to the customers, and the result was death of lot many people who are driving such car. What you are visualizing now, this picture is about the gas leakage in Bhopal, which happened during 1984. So oleum gas leakage from the Union Carbide Corporation, a corporation of American origin, which was situated, the subsidiary company was situated in Bhopal. So because of some poisonous gas leaked out of the company in midnight, while everyone was asleep, because of some gross negligence of the worker and the employees of the company, it resulted in death of 10,000 or more than that, and resulted in the deformation of lot many people. People now who are taking bath in Bhopal, they're still getting some deformities because of this gas leakage. The after effect of the gas leakage, the poisonous gas. This what you is visualizing is a picture of debris of Ethiopian Airlines flight 602. You must have heard about this plane crashes recently. Last year, this plane crashes happened because of the Boeing 737 MAX engine. Now, Boeing 737 MAX engine had some technical difficulties, which Boeing deliberately did not disclose, nor they did some particular training session for the pilots who are going to fly this kind of advanced engines. Particularly the 737 MAX, this technical error was so much in advance that it resulted in the crash of two Ethiopian Airlines and another Lion Airlines of Indonesia. That Lion Airlines, it was never found because it submerged into Pacific Ocean, and this one was found because it landed directly into the land, and these are the debris which you can see in the picture, resulting in death of 400 plus people. What you are visualizing now is a picture of the recent Vizag gas leak incident. Recently, there was a gas leak incident similar to Bhopal gas leak, which happened 20 or 25 years ago. The same circumstances, the same instance has been repeated by another corporation in Vizag. You must have seen this thing in the news before some days. Vizag gas leak. Thousands of people died, and some people are suffering from different deformities which are unknown to doctors till now. This picture is taken 3 days ago, where you can see clearly there is a red color water and there is some blue water or normal water. This red color water is gallons of oil which were spilled into the river in Russia by a very known company, a cobalt and nickel company, which is major. That company is a major manufacturer of nickel and cobalt in the world, a leading manufacturer. And by their gross negligence, they spilled gallons of oil into the river, which accounted and which resulted in death of so many inhabitants, and so many people were using that river water, so many aquatic animal, and at the end they didn't do anything to stop this kind of misfortune. They didn't act upon it, resulting in a crisis in the government. Now Russian government, they have declared a state of emergency in Russia. These are some examples which we discussed about corporate criminality, how the negligence of a corporation is resulting in death of so many people. So today's topic is about corporate culture and liability behind the mask. So what is corporate culture? What is the corporate culture? What is the criminal liability behind the mask? What is the significance of this topic? We'll discuss about this topic in detail now. So for discussing this topic, is it visible to you, everyone? Can you just let me know, is it visible to you? I'll share this once again. If anything you find difficult or anything you find not visible, then just let me know in the chat box. Okay. So I'll share the screen again. So corporate criminality and what is corporate culture's hand in this kind of criminality? What is the benefit? What is the benefit of making corporate culture pay for any kind of corporate criminality? So first of all, what is a corporation? What do we mean by a corporation? What is the meaning of a corporation? A corporation or a group, a corporation is a person or a group of people of separate legal entity. Just mark this thing, a separate legal entity which has some legal rights, such as some examples of some legal rights which we, natural person, we have, such as freedom of speech, political donations, etc. and etc. And these kind of rights and these kind of fundamental rights are authorized by law or an act of a legal person having, and they authorize the corporation to have a legal personality and have its own power, their own duties and their own liabilities. The law always permit a corporation to act his rights just as a legal or just as a natural person. The difference is a corporation is a artificial body, natural person is a natural body. Otherwise, the freedom or the legal rights what a natural person enjoys are given same to the corporation or to a company. Because as per our Indian context and as per our foreign context, a corporation is deemed as a legal person. So any kind of thing which treated as any kind of thing which gives it or it gives it a power to do legal rights or to perform legal sanctions makes it a legal entity. But what we are discussing now is a free legal entity. A corporation is always a free legal entity than any owner. A corporation is a separate legal entity. Person who are running the company are separate legal entity. One side there is a person who is a natural legal entity. Another side there is a person who is a artificial legal entity. But yes, both of them are legal entities. So any kind of corporation, by virtue of these kind of legal rights, are treated as a separate legal entity. They are separate in contrast of a natural or any kind of natural individual or natural person. What is corporate criminal liability? Corporate criminal liability is a crime which has been committed by any individual or association of individuals, either one person or a group of persons who are pursuing a common purpose or making business gain in course of their occupation, committed such acts or omission which is forbidden by law with guilty mind, where it is for the benefit of the corporation and any individual out of the association of the individual. Either it has been committed in an intention to benefit oneself or to the company with a guilty mind and with resulted in a commission or an omission of a criminal activity. Either the act of commission or an act of omission. The result is a criminal action. And it has been done with an intention, with a mental element of making a benefit to the corporation or the individual or the group of individuals. Criminal liability can be imposed on a corporation for the criminal action of natural person, precisely people who represent the corporation or the directing mind. which we'll discuss in the next slides. What is the directing mind? What is the features of a directing mind? Who are the directing minds of a corporation? So the criminal liability of a corporation can always be imposed on the criminal activity of such directing minds, or the person who are directing, or the person who are responsible for the action of the corporation. Liability arising out of these offences or criminal activity which occurs in their natural action or from their means by the natural persons, business occupations or operations for which they are responsible. Now, what is a crime? There are two elements to the crime. There are two very important elements or very important aspects of a crime. One is malicious intent. Another is act. Either it is an act of commission or act of omission. Malicious intent means the criminal intention or a mens rea. The criminal intention, the criminal intent or the criminal mind or malicious mind. It is called a criminal intent, which is a very important part of crime. A very important aspect of crime. Another aspect of crime, very important aspect, is any kind of act. An act of commission or an act of omission. The act can result in commission of an action or omission of action. You are acting upon some action or you are not acting upon some action. So either it is an act of commission or omission. These two elements are major part which conclude as a crime. If these two elements of a crime are precisely there in any kind of action, then we can conclude it is a criminal act. Now, how these both aspects are drawn from an action of a corporation? How to draw these two actions or these two elements from any action of a corporation? How to make these kind of actions available in any corporate action? One is the malicious intent or the mens rea, another the act of commission or act of omission. So before going into those topics, how to draw those two elements of crime from an action of a corporation, let's discuss about what are the major drawbacks while acting upon such kind of criminal intent or any kind of criminal action. While discussing about a criminal or a corporate criminal liability, while discussing or while concluding about a corporate criminality, there are some major drawbacks which can deliberately minimize their actions or deliberately minimize their corporate criminality. What are the major drawbacks? First, the requirement of a mens rea for proving criminal liability beyond any reasonable doubt. In every scenario, in every criminal act, as we know in criminal law, there is a must requirement of mens rea. What is mens rea? Mens rea is the criminal intent or malicious mental element of committing a crime. Now, how to draw the mens rea from a unnatural person, which is precisely a corporation. As a corporation is an unnatural person, a presence of any kind of mens rea is very doubtful. So how to pull out mens rea from any kind of criminal activity done by a corporation? Whereas corporation is not a natural person, it is an unnatural person. Second drawback, whether there is a conceptual explanation for using the same system of criminal justice for punishing the individual's misconduct as for punishing the non-living entities which are lifeless and fictitious in nature. As the criminal laws which we are having in our countries are those criminal laws applicable only to natural person or to penalize the misconduct of any kind of person who is a natural in an entity. Now, how to use these kind of laws which are enacted for natural person in a situation where an act of commission or act of omission happens to a corporation for any kind of criminal liability of a corporation? How to use these kind of criminal laws for pulling out criminal liability of a corporation? Another drawback is if at all the mens rea is proved, at any instance, if at all you are able to prove the mens rea, what should be the sanction or what should be the punishment for the corporation where fines and imprisonment both are mandated under such kind of law? For example, if there is any kind of crime where there is two elements included as a sanction or as a punishment, one is fine, another is imprisonment. Now, how to apply both these sanctions for any corporation, as a corporation is not a natural person. So, if it is not a natural person, how to imprison it? So, only sanction is the fine. If any case, if any scenario, there is any circumstance where imprisonment is only fine, is the only sanction, or imprisonment is the only punishment for the crime, then how to apply such provisions against a criminal, against a corporation? These are some drawbacks for a corporation, for providing any kind of sanction or applying any sanction for a corporation. Now let's get to some examples of corporate crimes, or some examples of corporate criminal situations. Corporate violence. What is corporate violence? A corporate violence is a violence done by a corporation against its employees or any other person, natural person, in accordance to its occupation or its uh, operations. Through its operation, if it applies some kind of violence over its own employees or any other person, natural person who is outside the purview of the corporates, then it is called a corporate violence. Corporate fraud or conspiracy. For example, the Satyam scam, a very important and very landmark scam in the course of Indian criminal history. The Satyam scam was done years ago, but we are still analyzing what happened through this scam. More precisely, the Satyam scam was a accounting fraud. What we are saying about corporate fraud, we can precisely say some accounting frauds or some financial frauds. They will do some kind of financial fraud which will benefit them in some kind of stakehold or some kind of share increase in gain or increase in their profit or debenture, something like that. Those are called corporate frauds. Corporate stealing. What is the meaning of corporate stealing? Corporate stealing is stealing some kind of share or some kind of benefit from the public and using it for their own benefits. Public nuisance. What is the public nuisance? Public nuisance means any kind of nuisance which happens for the public, or any kind of thing or any kind of act resulted from the corporation's negligence or gross negligence as an action of its gross negligence and resulted in any kind of public nuisance, which makes a public chaos or a public chaos or a public hold. False promises. There are advertisements, there are some kind of promotions which promise us some products which will give us some benefit, some health benefits, or some kind of some kind of professional benefit. For example, we will take some instances. There are some medicines which will assure you weight loss or some kind of weight losing mechanism through consuming such kind of medicines. Now, these kind of false promises are made by so many companies, but they do not actually come up to their promises, and it results in some kind of health hazards to the person who is consuming such kind of products. Embezzlement. What is embezzlement? Embezzlement is a kind of fraud or a kind of thing which happens inside the corporation. They will try to launch some money. They will try to gain some money. So there's some internal mechanism which will give them some gain over the other corporations. These kind of embezzlements are moreover done by the persons or employees inside a company against the company, but it also accounts it also accounts in the name of the company. Money laundering. What is a money laundering? Money laundering is basically converting black money into white money by using them in some proper. When a corporation is gaining some money or gaining some capital from some illegal acts, but they're using such money in some legal acts through some through some social sanctions or some social service. In this due course of using those illegal money in some social sanction or social service, they're laundering the money from black to white. Insider trading. Insider trading is a very known fact within the company, using some kind of techniques of some kind of trading techniques to trade the company values or trade some company benefit or gaining of substances by the employees of the company from one place to another place. Antitrust law violation, any kind of trust violation, breach of trust, a criminal action. We all know what is antitrust or what is a breach of trust. All these kind of activities, all these kind of actions always results in some kind of death or some kind of destruction or some kind of mass killing or some of mass losses of property or environmental degradation. So how actually the corporate abuse the power? How a corporation abuses the power through some different channels. So we can see a cycle of corporation we can see here a cycle of corporate abuse of power. How it actually abuses the power. What happens actually? First, there is a corporation. Just let's take example. There is a corporation who has a lot many money, who has lot many capital, who has lot many money to invest in some different places. They will donate this money to some political or some government organizations or to some politicians for their benefit. And in return, while these politicians or while this political party comes into power, by using the capital which was donated by the corporation, they will manufacture or they will do some kind of favor or they will create some favorable situations which will ultimately result in some kind of business gain or some kind of business profit to the same corporation from whom they borrowed the money. So this is a complete cycle which goes around and round. In every company, sorry, in every country, in every place, this cycle is deliberately being in action. So this is a concept precisely which we can say that you scratch my back and I will scratch your back. So this is a cycle which goes on repeatedly. The corporation benefits from the government and the government always benefits from the corporation. This is how the corporation is always abusing the power. And these powers comes from that maximum benefit, the maximum profit which they gain by virtue of some kind of favorable situations created by the government or the politicians which come into power by virtue of the corporation's money. So before going into the actual scenario, how we can make a corporation criminally liable, let's take some guideline or take some instances where there has been some guideline to how to look into a corporation's, how to look into the corporation's action as a criminal liability, how to decide if it has been a criminal, if it is criminally liable in action of a corporation or a company is criminally liable or not. So what a prosecutor must look into before framing charges on a corporation. These guidelines has been given by the US Department of Justice. What they say are precisely these 7 points. The first point is seriousness of harm to the public. What kind of serious effect or what kind of serious harm it inflicted on the public? Was the act pervasive? If the action which the corporation did is pervasive in nature means was it an action of a single person, or it was running in the whole corporation, or it was running in the whole system of the corporation? It was running in the corporation as a systematic behavior. All the higher executive managerial position or the directors are involved in it or not, or was it an action of a single person? Prior history of a corporation, any kind of prior history, any kind of history which shows that the corporation has been involved in any kind of corporate criminality. Disclosure of any suspicious activity by the corporation itself. Sometimes what happens, some person who are driven by some good morality inside the corporation, they try to inflict the corporation's criminal intent beforehand. So was there any such instances or was there any such example where any kind of person or any person of higher managerial position try to disclose any kind of suspicious activity going on inside the corporation? The collateral consequences if the whole company is being charged. What is collateral consequence if you charge the whole company criminally? What is the consequence? Is the profit is going to go down such that it will affect the public at large? If the shares of the company are going to get low so much that it will hamper the public at large. So that we can conclude as a collateral consequences, collateral damages of bagging a whole company into a criminal charge. Effective compliance program. Any kind of effective compliance program was there or not? What is a compliance program? Compliance program means any kind of preventive measure, any kind of measure which were there already installed in the company to avoid any kind of such mishap or any kind of such criminal action, or to avoid any kind of such gross negligence. Was there any compliance program existing or not? Was there existing which could have prevented such kind of action or not? Any kind of corporate consciousness or new compliance mechanism which emerged out of this action, or after happening of this kind of actions, or after happening of this kind of mishap or this kind of gross negligence, were there any corporate consciousness or there any kind of corporate new compliance mechanism came into force after happening of such kind of mishaps or after happening of such kind of actions? So these kind of, or these all 7 points what we discuss now are to be precisely evaluated by a prosecutor before charging the corporation for any kind of criminal liability. So what are the serious issues involved when any kind of corporation is being backed for a gross negligence or any kind of corporate criminal liability? What are the serious issues involved before bagging or before evaluating a corporation's criminal liability? The first issue is how does the government know about the company's compliance program? Now, the company's compliance program is inbuilt in the corporate culture. It is precisely inbuilt, precisely limited to the company itself. Now, how does the how does the government is going to know about what kind of compliance program is running inside the company? What is the actual compliance program? What is the preventive measure? What are the preventive programs the company is going to take after any kind of negligence or any kind of mishap happens by the company? How does the government come to know this kind of compliance program? Now, how does the government judge what is an appropriate compliance program within the company? What is the appropriation? What is the right compliance program within the company? What is the right way to enact or what is the right way to employ any kind of compliance program inside a company? How does the government judge upon it? How does the government come to know that is it a right compliance program or is it a wrong compliance program? The compliance program is good enough or not? So these kind of things can be minimized by the solution of by this following solution. What is the solution? The solution is either the company enlighten the government on its own about its compliance program, or let the government provide compliance mechanism and guidelines. Either you make know, or either you intimate the government from your side what are the compliance programs or what are the compliance mechanisms you are adopting inside your company, or let the government provide any kind of suitable compliance mechanism or suitable preventive guidelines as per their wish, as per the government's wish. There are some instances where we can conclude, as initially we discussed some instances, we are going to discuss some instances where we can see the gross negligence of a company which resulted in the death of so many persons, or the gross negligence or the deliberate negligence with intention and with knowledge where the company enacted upon it and it resulted in the death of some person. Now, what are those instances? First example, you can see the 2013 disclosure by the directors of Kulmani Support Group of South Africa. This organization, this is an organization, this is an independent organization which operates in South Africa, and they support the victims of apartheid. Apartheid is a communal crime. It is a crime against the whole community. We can always discuss about apartheid and genocide in some other classes or some other discussion or some other webinar. So now this Kulmani Support Group in South Africa, they have a strong hold over any kind of corporate liability happening in South Africa, which resulted in kind of apartheid. Now, precisely what we think that apartheid is a sanction or a crime which happens by a government or by a particular group of person. But here, the disclosure from the director of the Kulmani company, which happened in 2013, precisely through an interview, shows that the crime of apartheid is not only limited to any kind of government or any kind of private group. It is also extended to corporations, precisely big corporations. This Kulmani support group, they disclosed that during the 1974 and 75 war, there was a war happened in 1975 to 74 between the Arabian nations and Iran. Iran and Arabian nations, they front each other in a war, and because of that war, whoever supported the Arabian group or whoever supported the Iranian group, the Arabians or the Arabian collaboration, the collaboration of Arabian group, they cut off the oil supply from all those countries because they were supporting Iran. In result, with that kind of sanction,
I think the time, I think we have only 1 minute 30 seconds. So if you want to speak, we can again send some Zoom credential and you can continue. We can send participant to again a Zoom credential and we can continue.
Okay, so I'll just wind up this as soon as possible. These are some instances where the name of some private or some big companies came up, just like General Motors, Ford, or IBM. Boeing 737 MAX crisis already we discussed. There is Toyota who is involved in such kind of blunders. Honda, Volkswagen, lot many companies are there who are involved in this kind of sanction or this kind of blunders. You can always find in internet this kind of sanction or this kind of blunders which happened by these big companies. There are some Indian contexts or some Indian laws which you can see and note it down to make your reference for any kind of corporate negligence or to provide any kind of sanction or punishment which is given by Indian context. So there are various different governing bodies which through which we can attribute or through which we can conclude to a corporate criminal liability. The first doctrine is the doctrine of identification. This doctrine precisely says that the directing minds of a company or the person who are directing a company or who are actually doing the work through a company are to be liable for the actions of a company, and through them the mainstay of a company can be the mainstay